morning and welcome to the December 16th meeting of our Board of Commissioners. We'll begin as customary with a moment of silence. Thank you. Please rise for a pledge to the flag.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Commissioner Ames is with us by way of conference call. And so we will begin with public comment, and we have from the Gap, Alan McCord, who is Management Analyst. He has a loftier title than that, but that's as far as I can go. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for allowing me to have a few minutes of your time here. It's been more than months since we've had a representative from the Gap due to COVID represent. Give an update of what's going on there, and appreciate your time. Mr. Ed Weisnick, the Deputy Base Operations Manager, really would have liked to have been here today, but he's recuperating from some work he had done to his leg, and as soon as he's cleared medically to come here, he will be here to speak. He enjoys coming here. Also, on behalf of Colonel Marshall, Garrison Commander, just like to thank you again for your continued support, everyone at the Gap. And also he would like to come and speak here possibly next week. He is in the process of retiring from this position. He's been in there for approximately 4 years. And he just wants to come in and say a few words and thanks to everyone. So he will be temporarily replaced by Lieutenant Colonel Andrew O'Connor, and he's currently our DPOT's Director of Plans, Operations, Training, and Safety. So looking forward to that next week. Fording Town Gap, once again, we are the busiest National Guard installation in the United States of the 48 training centers in the United States. So that's for the second year in a row, and then for the fifth time in the last 7 years. So we're very proud of that distinction. This past year, we had a little over 113,000, not only soldiers, but other soldiers, airmen, other government agencies train at Fording Town Gap. And that equates to 765,000 man days, which equates to about, basically that's calculated by every day that one of those individuals trains there. So it's about a week each of those 113,000 people have been at the Gap. So those numbers are substantially less than pre-COVID. However, we have done a lot to mitigate any, the spread of COVID at the Gap, and we've increased our numbers substantially. So we're very proud of that, and it looks like this coming year we're going to even exceed those numbers again. At the Gap, we have Muir Army Airfield, which we, in coordination with Eastern Army Aviation Training Site, they are the second busiest heliport in the United States, not just military, but overall. Next, first is Fort Rucker, Alabama, where they do all military and Army training for the Army. So they have annually about 1,500 students there, and they continue, not just from the United States, there's a lot of foreign students that train there as well. Live fire exercises, which always kind of people like to know things because of the noise from artillery at the Gap. We have concluded for the month of December, we had some artillery firing on the 3rd and 4th, and we don't expect any, or none is scheduled until about the middle of January. So anytime there is potential for noise from that, our public affairs officer puts public notice out on social media to let everybody know. And since the leaves are off the trees now, there's potential for it to be a little louder, but they were very cognizant of that how that impacts the local people. So, DMVA at the Gap, we just wrapped up our. There was a prescribed burn on the 14th of December, and that's basically to mitigate any fire hazards for throughout the post. They do that normally not this late into the year, but since the weather has cooperated, they have done that. So again, they post that on social media when they're going to do that because people see a lot of smoke up that way. But in the long run, it's a good thing. It does burn all the tinder and everything that could possibly cause more problems. So.
And supports the butterflies.
Yes, it does. Yes.
Is there any more of these?
Currently, we're in a holiday slowdown. This is kind of our slow period of time with not very much training going on. And after January, that will pick back up and enter a busy season toward the late spring and summer. Another item of interest that a lot of people have been in the work planning stages for several years now, I think up to 4 years, for the construction of the access control points or gates on either end of Fisher Avenue going in the post. The west access control point, just the contract was finalized and the construction company actually started setting up to initiate construction on that gate. That is on Route 934 going on Fisher Avenue going by Funk's. That is the first gate. The other gate, which will be down on the other side of the post going toward Lakedale, will that's still in the planning stages. So there will be PennDOT approved temporary detours around that area at certain times, and again, notification will be put out by the Public Affairs Office to let people know so that people will be aware of the detours going on there. There will be some pickups, no doubt, but once we get everything set up, it should go smoothly. Also, we have started construction on a new police station at the Gap. Which has been several years in the working, and they've occupied a very small World War II era building, and they have a new facility coming online, and that's directly across the airfield as you're coming on the post. If you're familiar, there used to be right near the headquarters, there used to be a C-130 station there. They've moved that, and so they're constructing that, and in the future they're looking at also building a fire station there. That's a ways down the road as well. So, also construction, another thing that's actually nearing, I wouldn't say completion, but they're moving very quickly, is the Youth Challenge Academy that is coming to the Gap there. So that is going to be in Area 7, and that has the potential to really help youth in the area in the future once it's completed and gets gets started there. So. And that is pretty much the update right now. Again, this is kind of our slow period, so we don't have a lot of training information. But again, we appreciate the time to speak here, and again for the county support and everything that we do.
We too appreciate the presence of the Gap in our county and its place in national security, vital to our country's security and all the training that goes on there. And also, the good relationship we always enjoyed with our 911 communications center and hazmat team and the folks, the fire and so on. It's all been very, very good and always with public safety in the forefront. So thank you.
Yes. I know both the fire and police department do support, when they, outside the Gap when needed, and we appreciate we do a lot of law enforcement training at the Counter Drug Task Force or the training center up there. So it's a mutual respect for things. So,
Thank you.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you very much.
Always a pleasure to hear from the Gap. You're our freedom fighters out there, and we appreciate everything you all do.
We'll appreciate that as well. Thank you.
Any questions? You good? All right, Alan, thank you very much. And
Well, visit next week, you mentioned.
Yes.
We do have a meeting on Thursday morning.
Yes.
Of next week, so if that's what you were hoping for.
If there's time available, Colonel Marshall would like to come in.
We'll make time,
If
yep.
you would see, won't take much of your time. But
No.
Absolutely.
Anytime, probably be around this time, exactly a week from now, so. yeah.
Okay, I'll be in contact and get on the schedule.
Very good.
Thank you again.
Thank you, Alan. And our best to David.
I'll send that. Thank you.
Any other public comment?
Public comment.
All right. Introduce yourself and then you may proceed.
Dawn Blau, I'm here as a Republican committee person. Myself and Bill Dockerty had sent out a letter to Republican committee members asking them to sign on. And I'd just like to read it to you and the names that signed on. So, need my glasses. This is addressed to Commissioner Ames and Phillips as they are the Republican commissioners. As members of the Lebanon County Republican Committee, we are writing today to express our strong opposition to the proposed 18% property tax increase you both voted in favor of publicly displayed at your December 2nd Commissioners meeting. Since its inception, the Republican Party has stood for fiscal discipline and lower taxes to promote economic opportunity. This founding principle has stood atop our great party's platform for the days of President Abraham Lincoln to President Donald Trump. It cannot be ignored that the tax increase you are currently considering would significantly magnified by the massive 32% tax hike you passed on Christmas Eve in 2016, thereby totaling a staggering 56% increase over the past 5 years should it pass. Over that same period, Lebanon County seniors living on a fixed income have seen only a 13% increase in their Social Security payments. Sadly, many of our greatest generation will be taxed out of their homes should this increase come to fruition. At a time when Americans are struggling to cope with stifling inflation across the board due to overspending by President Biden and Democrats in Washington, D.C., it is simply unconscionable for our Republican county commissioners to consider a double-digit property tax increase in Lebanon County. In fact, it was the 40th President of the United States, Ronald Wilson Reagan, who stated simple fairness dictates that government must not raise taxes on families struggling to pay their bills. We respectfully ask that you explore every possible alternative to raising taxes again during this difficult time. Lebanon County has received tens of millions of dollars in federal coronavirus relief funding. Perhaps a better use of that money would be to balance the general fund budget rather than financing expensive new multi-million-dollar projects. Indeed, our neighbors in Dauphin County have not seen a tax increase for over 15 years, thanks to the fiscal stewardship of their Republican county commissioners, proving there is a responsible way forward. We greatly appreciate your consideration of this critical request and look forward to your next commissioners meeting on December 23rd. Thank you for your service to the people of Lebanon County. Sincerely, myself, William Doherty, who wanted to be here today and was unable to, Jennifer Albright, Christopher Barry, Kermit Bell, Marion Blindstein, Shane Gingrich, Charles Greenewald, Jan Griffey, Stephanie Grumbine, Tucker Hall, Linda Jackson, Richard Blystein, Bonnie Blystein, Richard Blystein Jr., Gwen Boyer, Matt Briette, Dana Briette, Liberty Briette, Faith Bucks, Christy Klinger, Gregory Klinger, Jacqueline Cluck, Dale Coleman, Carrie DeMichael, Serena Dunmoyer, Todd Dunmoyer, Zachary Dunmoyer, William Macaron III, Tom Ferrari, Harry Fees, Ian Firestein, Robert Firestein, Lindsay Firestein, Pat Garris, Maureen Gallo, Christy Jensler, Sean Gerhard Kreiser, Elizabeth Judd, Dorothy Keller, Candace Curran Hall, Bill Kuhn, Casey Long, Anthony Magaro, Paul Matters Jr., Tannen Miller, Larry Minnick, Joya Morrissey, Tom Morrissey Jr., Michael David Muma, Ray Andruzak, Sandra Pavaglio, John Pello, Jane Caroli, Dawn Rosanovich, Castanino, Scaros, Jim Schaefer, Paul Schmidt, Eric Zebko, Christine Thomas, Sally Thompson, Eric Walter, Michelle Whitman, Steve Michael Wolf, and Brian Ziegler.
Thank you. I think if you maybe look at history, you will see that with both Lincoln and our President, both Reagan, both raised taxes. So I mean, your quotes are very.
For the consideration to look at something different, look at other options maybe.
Well,
I don't think anybody's
let me
arguing with some of the things that need to be
What are the,
addressed.
in your particular case, as a public official and as a department head in our courthouse, your first budget, you raised from the general fund 110%. And I think it's a little hypocritical of you to be here today calling us out when you have not come to us with either a number that you think the taxes should be raised or a solution, what should be cut. And I'm not finished.
Okay.
You had your time to read yours, and now it's our time to respond.
Yes.
But I think it's, for your department, for example, to look at maybe going to part-time help so that we wouldn't have to pay health benefits. Of course, we wouldn't want to suffer any loss of productivity because we still have to provide for our constituents. Or if you have vacancies coming open, that you wouldn't replace them. These are the kinds of things where we are that would have to be done, and you've not come forward with any of those just to, proclaim that you don't like it. Well, none of us wanted to vote for a tax increase. This is our sixth budget that we would not have had one, and it was 8 years before the last one. So, that on top of, they had inflation referenced in your original letter, that it's stagnating when in fact it's probably a 40-year high in terms of inflation. So for the county, it costs us more for our gas, for our sheriffs, and for our response teams. It costs more for our lights, the electrical, all the things that cost money for everyone else cost money for us. So the only two solutions are to either reduce cost or increase revenue. And anyone that knows this board and Jamie and the whole team here would know that we've looked at every place that we can to be as as conservative as we can in providing good service to our constituents. Because if you look at the things that we fund, would you defund the jail? You can't do that. Stop paying for the court system. Stop answering the 911 calls. I mean, these are all things that we could do, but you wouldn't do them because we are responsible people. And I think it's just disingenuous for people that none of those folks that have signed on to that have approached me with either a number that would be satisfactory to raise the taxes or a solution to what should be cut to get down to a balanced budget, which is also vital to a responsible Republican government. So, anyone else want to respond to that? I mean, I'm shocked at it, but go ahead, Bill or Joan.
I don't think it was addressed to me, so I prefer not to respond.
Okay.
I would like to
I'd like to
address.
ask if Bill would like to
Okay.
respond. Bill, anything?
Are you there, Bill?
He's a little under
I
the
did
weather.
have a conversation with Bill, and he pretty much said the same thing that you did, so I would assume he would say the same thing.
Well, let's not assume that. Let's see if we can get him back so he
Okay.
can hear. That's all right. Bill, I
Okay,
just
go
finished
back.
responding to the letter in some detail. I've more to offer, but I wanted to open it up to see if Commissioner Litz or you wanted to say anything in response to it. It's, calling us out for our budget as we have it presented to the public.
Well, I would defer to Commissioner Litz if she cares to comment, but I do when she's finished.
She has declined to comment because the letter was addressed to us.
Okay, all right. Well, I just think it's unfortunate that they chose to speak up on us. Rather than reach out, and I reached out to both Dawn and Bill Doherty, saying that I think it was unfortunate that they didn't want to sit down with us and talk about this ahead of time. They'd rather have the big headline splash and make the big event here at the meeting and the media play. So I'm not sure that that's the best way to accomplish what's best for Lebanon County. And I realize that I haven't always been on the money, spot on for what people think we need to do in Lebanon County, but I think this Board of Commissioners has done a good job of managing. And, to compare us to Dauphin County is very unfair. And of course, all the important things were left out there, the literally millions of dollars that Dauphin County gets from Hollywood Casino. And, we get very little. I think it's like $180,000, and it's very restricted in how we can use it. So it's an unfair tactic, and I think we could have perhaps made much better progress if it would have been done differently. And unfortunately, I reached out to Bill Doherty, who was a signer of one of the letters, and met him for breakfast the other day, and I ended up with COVID. So I'm in a weakened position right now, but I'm still strong, and I still think that we have a responsibility to provide for the health and safety of the residents of Lebanon County. And in reference to, the vulnerable seniors, they are the most vulnerable too when it comes to public safety and 911 services. So.
All right, Bill. Thank you. Anything?
Excuse me, may I just make a touch on the comparison again? Bill did a bit, but Dauphin County and York County. Dauphin County, while it's accurate that they have been 15 or 14 years without a tax increase, he mentioned the casino proceeds that I believe are used in some of the social services agencies by Dauphin County. But I think more importantly, their budget for 2022 is a $212 million general fund budget. This is on the website. I'm not casting stones here. It's right there. They have a $212 million general fund that they are adding $26 million in cash, 13%, just to get it balanced, which they've been doing for years. However, on the horizon, they have $42 million total left in cash. So they have about this year coming and a little bit of the next year, and they're going to be facing this same problem. All counties face this same problem. We are operating agencies and departments that no one else will or can operate. If they were profitable, we wouldn't be doing them. I'll also use a Ronald Reagan quote, which is, if it's in the yellow pages, government shouldn't be doing it. You don't find jails in the yellow pages. You don't find 911 operations in the yellow pages. Those are things government must do, and they are expensive. Another comparison would be York County. They are raising their millage by 18.6% for 2022 as well, because they're facing the exact same problems.
Just to give a little clarity on the Hollywood Casino thing, the last numbers I saw were 13 million a year was going to Dauphin County and less than 200,000 to Lebanon County. So if you turn that around, we'd be good stewards also without too much trouble.
May I ask a question?
Of course.
the money that comes to Lebanon County, that doesn't come to us, does it? It goes to East Hanover Township to the fire company?
Exactly,
Yeah, that was my thoughts. It doesn't come to our pot, that
No, it's used for-
180,000.
It goes to East Hanover, the Ono Fire Company, I believe, maybe another, but my understanding and recollection is that they have a ladder truck, which is on the box card for response to the casino because of its height. And so the casino, they worked that out so that they would give some support to it.
I was part of opposing that we didn't get any money. I was asking for Lebanon County to get funded, and that was my recollection. I wanted to make sure I had it accurate.
And the only other example I'd like to use is the MHID, mental health, intellectual disabilities. Those are among the most vulnerable of our society. In 2013, there was a 10% cut in that budget. And there's never been a replacement of that or an increase in the years hence. And that has all been backfilled with the county general fund money. So, this isn't, magic act or good stewardship to prevent a tax increase. We go as far as we can, and then we're up against, our backs are against a wall. And if you trade public safety, and we also have a big investment in our employees in this budget to pay for their health care and a raise so that we can retain and recruit employees. So, these are all things that we consider vital to running this government. And again, I wish this was handled in a different way. I don't think it's a smiling affair. That you think it's humorous? Oh, okay.
Being polite.
Oh, well, thank you. All right. Anything else?
Just, I wanted to ask a question. Did York County raise taxes 32%?
I don't know that offhand.
That was, so I don't have questions, but I would like to address what you said to me about the budget. I had asked, the significant portion of that increase I had asked was $22,120. I'm generating revenue by user fee, and I asked you to use that user fee to pay for that. This year so far, I distributed over $46,000 in user fees to pay for that $22,120. So I'm generating the revenue to cover what I asked to put in the budget. So
Prior to that,
I
we
am,
would have had
I'm
46 though, right?
correct, but you
I'm sorry,
approved
Jamie. I
it.
think that's worth repeating. Could you-
It was,
Prior to
It
that
I'm asking
change,
Jamie to.
prior to that change, all 46,000 would have been general fund revenue.
for this year. The year before it was 43, the year before that it was 35. We've been trying to promote it. You asked to try to raise more revenue with it. We've been trying to promote it to bring that number up. But you did agree with me and approve it. That is something that we can look at. There are other areas that we could look at. I was unaware, really, that there was going to be an 18% tax increase, but you're all elected to make tough decisions. So if you want to sit down and discuss areas on where I can try to counteract some of, like you were saying, with the the increase in costs.
But you're the one bringing this
with-
letter to us. You should be bringing the solution and
well,
not asking us to.
obviously can't cover the whole.
Well, I'm not asking,
amount,
no one has
but
come to say,
I'm
hey, it should
willing
be
to
14. You're,
Those options. And as soon as we had the department head meeting, I went back and I started looking at numbers to see what I could do in my office. You mentioned staff. So right now, our numbers our recording numbers are up to where when we had 6 people. I did not ask to add another person. I am trying to handle it with who I have. Yes, I'm going to be down a person, and I'm looking to see if there is a way that I can adjust that somehow. But with the numbers that we have right now, that may be difficult.
there you go.
But
Because cuts have already been made through the years
Right.
in staff, and so.
and I don't make a lot of these meetings because I got to be down on the floor helping.
And I'll say further that in terms of cutting benefits and weakening the salaries by going part-time with folks, it goes against all the recruitment and retention efforts that we've been trying to do. And also, you're putting it all on the backs of the non-bargaining people. half of our employees are in bargaining units. We have 6 unions that we deal with that would not be involved in voluntary cuts cuts that we would impose. And so that's another factor, that is this fair to the half of our employees to take it all out on them because people want to raise issues of, of no tax increase. And it just, life is not that simple. Peel back some of these layers and you'll find that a lot of it is going to reflect on the service that we provide. And if we have to have fewer caseworkers going to these vulnerable families that are out there, I mean, there's all sorts of ripples to issues of cutting any further than we have already in the past.
So I know some of these things have been looked at and have been planned for years now. You've been planning to get to a certain point. But were there other options that you were looking at, or was the plan the whole time to raise taxes? And then maybe not all in one lump sum?
Well, we talked, actually, last year would have been the year that we would have considered necessary to raise. We limped along one more year, but because of COVID, we didn't want to impose on top of the uncertainty of all that and in the middle of that. And that's what bought us, or got us another year. But, it's inevitable that as prices go up for things and as needs present and funding from the state and federal that were mandated is either flat or declining, there's only one place. We're at the end of the food chain, and that's why we have to be responsible in putting together our budget. So none of us, we despise raising taxes. So to think that this is something that the three of us, think, let's inflict a little pain this year, that's why it's a little, I feel, disingenuous not to have people coming that sign such a letter and not tell us what's an acceptable amount of tax increase and what we would cut to balance it, because we've done all that, and this is where we are.
Jake, one other comment, you reminded me when you said federal dollars. The federal funds that have come to the county, without question, are significant, $26 million. 18 million of which we are able to fold into the project for the 911 center and the new radio system for dispatch and so on, because they are eligible expenses. We cannot just take federal funds through ARPA and plow it into the general fund to offset a general fund deficit. There are very, very specific strings attached to that funding that can't just be poured into the general fund. And even if there weren't, and we put it into the general fund for 2022, what would we do in 2023?
Yeah, that's a one-year cure, and then that money's totally gone for purposes that we may have been able to use it for capital needs or for workforce development, all those other things that it was intended to be used for. But it does buy you 1 year, and then we're right back here again, and sitting in front of people that are unhappy with the tax increase, which includes us. All right. Yes.
Dawn, the signatories on the letter, does that represent the entirety of the Republican?
No, it's 65 members of the Republican Committee.
There are 180 would be the total pool. I don't know how many are.
So
there.
how many have signed this letter?
65.
65 of 100, so
Yes.
1/3 essentially of the,
Yeah, I don't know how
of the
many
committee.
open seats there are, but there's 180 positions.
Are they all filled?
They're
That's
not.
what- No, I said there's some open seats.
Oh,
But it's less than half of the committee,
Right.
of the existing committee? So are we to assume, was this proposal or this letter presented to everybody and these are just the people that signed
It was. There were some people that took their names off, because they were asked to. Many people that said that they agreed, but didn't feel right putting their name on, for whatever reason, several reasons, many different reasons.
And we know that
I would say the majority agreed that, but their name's not here, so.
Okay. And we know that a lot of this tax increase is also because of the new DES center and 911 center. I mean,
4%.
4%
Of the 18.
of the 18. I mean, you're not necessarily saying, well, don't build the 911 center or anything like that.
I know that there's issues with CES that need to be taken care of and addressed, yes. So I know they've been planning for this for a while now, and I thought there was a plan to pay for it other than raising taxes.
That would have been a simple phone call, but
Yeah, well, I'd like to heard that plan.
Thank you.
all right, anything else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go on to the approval of the minutes of our previous meeting of December 2nd.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the minutes of our December 2nd meeting. Any additions, deletions, or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign, so ordered. Sally Newman. Good morning.
We have receipts on 12/14 and 12/15 of $516,948.41. That brought us to a cash total of $2,048,793.81. We had expenditures this week of $1,086,421.49. Our tax claim is $6,778.26.
Could you repeat that, please?
Which one?
6,000,
$778.26.
thank you.
And the cash balance is $955,594.06.
Thank you.
Okay, motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the treasurer's report as presented.
I'll second the motion, but I always caution that we should be doing it subject to audit.
We have a motion and a second. Any comment or question? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign, so moved. Sally, what else?
Okay, I have resolutions that need to be approved to change the signers on our accounts at the First National Bank of Pennsylvania. So there's quite a few of them, but this is bringing it up to date with the changes in the office.
I'll make a motion to change signers as needed in the treasurer's office for First National Bank of Pennsylvania.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any comment or question? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, so moved.
One more thing that came up. I have an intermunicipal agreement here with North London Township. They do this every 2 years for the collection of their taxes. They're a solicitor like it every 2 years. So I just need to approval to sign this again.
I'll make a motion to approve the signing of an agreement with North Lebanon Township to collect their taxes.
I'll second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Any question or comment? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign, so ordered.
Thank you.
All right, we'll get those signatures later.
Yeah, we have a retirement, so maybe in the interest of time, we'll get those people here going.
Sure.
From aging.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, you're up front, Kate.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
If you'd like to introduce yourselves, then you may proceed.
Good morning, I'm Carol Davies, I'm the administrator of the Area Agency on Aging. With me is Ann Devine, our deputy administrator. On my other side is Dean Neese, our director of senior center services for the next few weeks. Oh, 9 days, apparently.
Not that he's coming.
Which, hey, we don't want to tarry at all here. We have a proclamation that we'd like to present.
Whereas Dean L. Meese began his career with the Area Agency on Aging, employed as a full-time Senior Center Services Director on January 3rd, 1984. Whereas Dean was responsible for the operations of Lebanon County's senior community centers and ensuring that the Meals on Wheels were delivered every day to seniors in need throughout the county. Whereas Dean served on the RSVP and the Band Together advisory councils. And whereas during his tenure, Dean served the county with devotion and commitment, performing his duties and responsibilities in a professional manner. His skills and leadership have been appreciated by the county, and he has been a valuable and dedicated employee. And whereas on December 31st, 2021, Dean will retire from the Lebanon County Area Agency on Aging with over 37 years of distinguished service. And now therefore be it resolved that we, the Commissioners of Lebanon County, on behalf of past boards of county commissioners, past and present employees, and all our citizens, unite to thank Dean for the outstanding service he provided during his many years at the county. Further, we extend congratulations and best wishes for a most rewarding future and the very best retirement.
Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to adopt the proclamation as read.
And I'll second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Got it in there. Oh, 3-0. Congratulations, and the proclamation is hereby adopted. And now we can have comments, if you'd like, to either from Dean or Carol, Ann.
Well, I'll say a few words. It's been nearly 38 years that Dean has worked for the Area Agency on Aging, and doing some quick math, during that time, he oversaw the distribution of literally millions of meals to seniors in Lebanon County, either through our Meals on Wheels program or at our senior centers. So it's not something to be taken lightly. It's really a career that provided a valuable service to people. He walks out the door with nearly 38 years of institutional knowledge, and we'll miss him and we wish him well.
All right.
Well, thank you. I appreciate all the accolades. I have worked with the Meals on Wheels and Senior Center programs, and at our last Meals on Wheels meeting, I had given our drivers some information. So we have one driver that started 10 months after I did, so she has literally accumulated almost 750,000 miles delivering Meals on Wheels in our program. And I did some math and added up total years of service for all of our drivers. So that was over 70 years and over 3 million miles. So they're out there 250 days a year. So the dedication is unparalleled. So their dedication has just inspired me. And I know at the end of the day, even though there's been a few challenges over the years, we've still at the end of the day had the satisfaction of knowing we were helping consumers in the programs. And I have many stories which I won't bore you with today, but we had a helpful lady at a senior center who didn't have a driver's license, was very shy, never left her home, got into a senior center, and being cultured, motivated by her senior center manager, she wound up getting her driver's license, taking charge of a card table of snacks to 2 banquet-sized tables that she prepared, and that was the highlight of her day coming in. So those kind of stories inspired me, and I know, again, the satisfaction of helping consumers at the end of the day. So I'll always remember those.
Nan?
Yes.
Just that you taking the time to share your moment with all of those people speaks volumes. Well done. That's very humble, and it shows good leadership qualities. Thank you.
And we have an opportunity for presentation.
Sure. And we'll leave that back. Oh, did he? Oh, geez. Okay.
You want to stand over here, Dean? That's where the shooting gallery is.
You swearing that away?
I'm always on the edge.
Where do you want to be?
No, I'm just kidding.
We want you to be happy today. This is Christmas.
Oh, yes, for Christmas, okay.
Here, let me shake your hand. You doing that today?
nice that the thing isn't pushing in my leg today.
All right, ready? Did it anyway. Ready? All right.
Very good. Thank you. And good health and good retirement.
Thanks, Carol.
Has he responded?
Correction. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, look back.
Goes fast.
The day I can tell stories.
Yes,
Yeah, I didn't even look.
yeah. My mind is on so many things. I look, I had it written down.
Spell that you, that's the word. Yeah. No, I'm sorry, no. D-E-A.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was saying, yeah.
Yes, not divine like usual. Okay, so back to business. Our game face is back on, and would you please introduce yourselves, and then you may proceed.
Michelle Snavely, Director of Human Resources. Leanne Shank, Human Resources Assistant. Personnel transactions, resignations and terminations. Anita Spots, casual part-time door monitor, resignation effective December 17th. Johnny O'Horn, caseworker 1 in children and youth, resignation effective December 14th. Tia Althouse, Secretary D in the District Attorney's Office, termination effective December 6th. Luis Martinez, full-time correctional officer at the jail, resignation effective December 15th. Kimberly Clark, full-time developmental assistant at Renova, resignation effective December 24th. Shane Flogger, casual part-time developmental assistant at Renova, removal effective December 16th. And Lynette Smith, part-typist A in the sheriff's office, resignation effective December 23rd.
I make a motion to approve resignations and terminations as presented.
I'll second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve those transactions. Any comment or question? Not all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign, so moved.
Under changes of status, transfers, and promotions, I have a motion to acknowledge President Judge Tillwalk's order of the court number 4 for 2021, effective December 26, 2021. Probation services employees of the management team, director, deputy directors for adult and juvenile, APO3s for adult and juvenile supervisors, and the fiscal supervisor of the Lebanon County Probation Services will work a regular work week consisting of 40 hours per week.
Make a motion to adopt the court order as presented. Not that we really have a choice, but we need to do it, so.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve that court order as presented. Any questions or comments regarding the court order? Not all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. So moved.
Andrea Palfrey, promotion from intake officer in domestic relations to conference officer at the rate of $2,277.97 biweekly, effective December 27th. Jeffrey Arnold changes status from full-time deputy sheriff in the sheriff's office to casual part-time deputy sheriff at the rate of $16.28 per hour, effective December 27th.
I'll make a motion to approve changes of status, transfers, and promotions as presented.
I'll second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve those transactions. Any question or comment? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign, so ordered.
Under other transactions, District Attorney's Office would like to hire Jesse Lurch as a Secretary D at the rate of $944.60 biweekly, effective December 20th. And the Pathonetary's Office would like to rehire Jan Fryer as a General Clerk C at the rate of $896.47 biweekly, effective December 27th.
Make a motion to approve the transactions as presented.
Second. Then we can discuss.
Okay, second for discussion.
I didn't think that was a rehire, but I believe.
Yes,
Sorry. Okay.
At least you're listening, that's good. Any further question or comment? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign, so moved.
Moving on to salary board. If there are no questions regarding the transactions presented, is there a motion to adopt those transactions or the salary board?
So moved.
second.
Second.
It's been moved and doubly seconded. Any comment or question that we approve those salary board transactions? Hearing none, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Opposed, same sign. So ordered.
Mandated conference seminars, I have Courtney Rank from Children and Youth would like to attend the following 3 trainings. Introduction to Engagement in Mechanicsburg, January 5th, 2020, with mileage meals reimbursement, 6 credits mandated by DHS. And CPS and GPS in Mechanicsburg, January 13th, 2022, with mileage and meals reimbursement, 6 credits mandated by DHS. And Safety Assessment Training in Mechanicsburg, January 20th and 21st, 2022, and mileage and meals reimbursement, 12 credits mandated by DHS. And James Dunmore from Drug and Alcohol would like to attend the PACDAA membership meeting. It is virtual online, January 13th and 14th, 2022, with a $175 total registration fee, no other reimbursements, mandated by DDAP. And Susan Christner from Probation Services would like to attend the Chiefs Executive Committee meeting in State College, January 14th, 2022, with mileage and parking reimbursement, 3 credits mandated by JCJC. And, meals and parking reimbursement, with 3 credits mandated by JCJC. And a retro training request from Audrey Fortnod, Sue Christner, and Dwight Pembroke from Probation Services. This is for the Juvenile Chiefs Council in State College. It took place on November 18th and 19th. They are requesting lodging and meals reimbursement, 6 credits mandated by PCCP.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve those mandated requests. Any question or comment? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So moved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. If you'd like to introduce yourselves, and then you can go ahead with your presentation.
John Schott, Probation Services, Criminal Justice Advisory Board. Good morning.
Audrey Fortnell, Director of Lebanon County Probation Services.
Yep.
Thank you, Chairman. Good morning, everybody. Well, as is now known, Pennsylvania Counseling Services, for various reasons, is ending the long-running inpatient treatment residential component of the highly successful Renaissance Crossroads program. Earlier this year, the Pennsylvania Commission on Crime and Delinquency had awarded Lebanon County a grant of $500,000, approximately 86% of which goes toward that program for fiscal year 2021-2022. So in response to Pennsylvania Counseling's decision, we're required to modify the grant budget for the second half of the fiscal year to reflect this change of direction. So we are here today to request your authorization to submit a modified budget within the next week for PCCD's review. And this entails reallocating funds to other areas, such as the Day Reporting Center, while still adhering to grant guidelines and keeping the focus on treatment. And that has been a challenge, and we are not able to construct a revised budget for the same amount of funding awarded in the original application. So the updated grant budget appropriates, as of now, $365,501 for intermediate punishment and treatment, and that is a slight increase from what's in front of you because we did have some updated budget figures that came to us just yesterday. And we believe that the new budget we are constructing is a responsible one given the circumstances. The main goal of the grant is changing offenders' behavior for the better, and we believe that the budget that we're working on does not stray from that goal. So we respectfully ask for your authorization to proceed and continue our work with this revision.
Good place to invest those monies, yes, correct.
I'll make a motion to approve the requested budget allocation for the grant received from PCCD for probation.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I'll second the motion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve that modified budget. Any comment or question or additional information that you want to share? You good?
I saw you're just gonna get a lot of ankle monitoring bracelets or something like that, was like $36,000 worth. That's, how many does that buy?
So we're not purchasing the bracelets outright.
Or is it rented?
It is, we are paid for the service.
Ah.
And so there is a certain type of sentence that an individual has to receive in order to qualify for the grant monies.
Gotcha.
There are a lot of parameters that we've had to consider. And so part of that is if someone is on house arrest and there is a SCRAM component which monitors alcohol use, then we can utilize some of the funds to help offset the costs of that. If someone is on house arrest and attending the day reporting center, we can utilize funds to offset day reporting center costs. So we can't use it for just anybody in the day reporting center, but if someone is on house arrest at the same time they're anticipating in the day reporting center, we can direct those funds to help offset those costs. And so trying to guesstimate where we would be over the next 6 months. In addition, I will be reaching out to Jamie and Angel over the next week. I will have to decrease some of my budget funding because if we are funded through the county, then we can't be approved. And so I'm making some adjustments as well on my budget, so it will be decreasing.
All right, well, thank you for the explanation.
And we'll continue to update the narrative budget as we go along, but we really would like to submit the revised budget before the holidays for our commission to review. So we'll continue to work on it.
All right, anything else? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 So moved. We
Thank you
have
very much.
your modified budget. But this may be not the best time, but I just want to, for the media's sake, they're here all the time. They see the seriousness of the work you do and your serious approach to it and your professional approach to it. And we have that throughout the whole enterprise. I mean, this, investing in our employees it's easily seen where that money's going and the quality of work we get. And so, thank you. And that's for everyone in our, care that we have 700 employees, all dealing with the most difficult jobs society has to offer and doing it as best as it can be done. So, thank you.
No, thank you, Commissioner. I appreciate that so much.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, can I ask one question? Audrey, you said the reallocation of the money is to pay for the monitoring of the ankle bracelets? Or is that?
So you can pay for the bracelets if there is a drug and alcohol monitoring component as well.
But what I wanted to ask was, is there a company that, watches each of these people on the bracelet, and if they go outside of their bounds, it
That would be
connects?
us.
Oh, okay, so
That would be us.
you are the ones, that's what I wanted to know.
So the monies that we can redirect will help offset the costs that the county pays for the use of the bracelets.
Okay. Just wasn't sure about that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, that's good.
Since the controller is here for the whole meeting, we could put him
Yes.
further down and kind of catch up a little bit.
Yes.
That'd be all right.
Save the best for
He's fine
last.
with
A couple of our unsung heroes, thank you for being with us this morning. Morning.
Morning.
Thank you for your patience and if you enjoyed our meeting thus far.
Yeah.
If you'd like to introduce yourselves and we continue.
Jay Rhodes, I'm the facilitator for Lebanon County Fire Training Center.
William Kale, President, Lebanon County Firefighters Association.
Lee Spencer, First Vice President, Lebanon County Firefighters Association.
Welcome. Glad to have you here. And I'm not sure what order you wanted to speak in or if there's, whatever you guys want to do is increasing to.
You want to go on? You know about that.
What we had handed you was our, pretty much our expenditures for the year starting from November 1st, 2020 to October 31st of 2021. Just to give you an idea of what it's costing the association to run the training center just for, basically 1 year. The improvements that we've been doing down there, slow improvements, because one of the things is, as an association, limited funding, we could only do little bit of projects at a time. So basically, that's what our budget is for the year. I know we utilize, the county, you donated money to us so we want to show you where our expenditures are. For the improvements of next year that I'm trying to work on for next year is a building for a rehab pavilion. Basically, that way there, once we're in the Class A burn building that we utilize down there, we can keep the students, closer to the building and rehab, so that way there we can utilize the time. We don't have to chase them down, because right now, we chase them down to where our engine is parked, and then we have to drag them back up. So that's, throughout the day, it's a longer period of time that we gotta chase the students, get them back and get them ready. So we're looking at putting a pavilion closer to the area that we work in all the time. That's a project that we're working on. Natural gas, I would like to go green. So that's been a project I've been working on with UGI since when?
A year and a half ago.
Yeah, so that's a long project too. So what I'm trying to do is get natural gas into the training center so I can cut down on,
Also fuels. Burn skids.
burning skids, a little bit cleaner, a little bit faster, and we can utilize their time a lot better than, anybody that ever lights a fire, you put water on it, it takes a long time to get it back up and running. That's where we're at right now. So we're trying to go green and, like I say, get the gas in there and utilize more gas props. And just new equipment and appliances that we need to get for future training. So that's what we're looking at, and I try to stay up on all that stuff. A lot of this stuff here that you see on the list is repeated throughout the year, because by NFPA standards, we gotta get our compressor tested every year, so that way there we have certified breathing air. Ladders get tested, and as hose goes, we replace the hose as frequently as possible, but as it blows, we just throw it away. So there's always a maintenance cost that we utilize down. Hydrant systems, we've been trying to stay up on the hydrants. They're failing, they're old, so that's why you see hydrants being replaced down there. Working with Gage Moyer down in Myerstown, we're getting used hydrants, because the new hydrants like $5,000–6,000. So we ain't got that kind of money in our budget. So we try to work with them, and they give us somebody else's used parts, I guess you could say. Other than that, if you have any questions, I'll try to answer it as best I can.
Do you mind if I just, for Commissioner Ames' sake, he's on the phone here, and to just put it into perspective in terms of what the county, you referred to the county's contribution, but we didn't really talk about any numbers. So, Bill, what the list here is showing is $30,902 that they have in annual expenses. The county's allocation has been for a long time, as you guys know, $15,000 a year. You requested an increase for 2022 to $20,000. The commissioners have included that in their proposed budget, so that extra $5,000 is in there. Of note recently, which is kind of what maybe has
stirred the pot,
precipitated a lot of this, is that the water authority, or the Lebanon Authority, has in an effort to try to cut down their water loss across their entire system, mandated that the hookup of water to the fire training center be split from the CTC school. It was all together, it flowed through, it was unmetered, it was, I'm just want to educate everybody on that. So that was changed, I think, when was that?
A year and a half ago, I think.
Yeah. That was, and the county covered the cost of that installation for the meter base and the pit and all those things. What that has resulted in is a new water bill, and a water bill that you guys hadn't seen before. Despite pleading with the authority a bit by a number of people, they are saying that they have a lot of water loss and they need to do this, and until they can get a handle on that, they're not giving out any free water. So
No.
Even, you know, hopefully, I was hoping for the first responders training, we would do that, but they're taking a pretty hard line on it, which is their prerogative to do. So I just wanted to kind of paint the picture a little bit, so you guys are.
The number in the bottom there, it doesn't
If you look at
reflect the cost.
I know, I don't see the
Because
water
the
on
cost
there.
of the water usage we kind of sat down with the CTC and sort of worked up a plan that we'll pay for the water we use at the fire school. And that didn't sit well with the CTC because they have to answer the schools, the different schools that go down, the kids, send the kids down there. So we were gonna pay for the water, but then the school would pick up the maintenance part. That's the big thing is the maintenance on the water lines down there, which the water authority has they haven't done any maintenance on the water lines whatsoever since they put them in. If we have a break in the line, we're stuck with the bill for it.
their basic,
And that's higher than the water usage.
Yeah, their basic fee, starting out when this all started was, once we seen the bill, was $1,054. That didn't include the water.
Right.
That's just to have the hydrants there. But then when, then I guess halfway through the year, they increased it, dropped the water cost, and increased the basic fee to over $2,000.
Now, to be fair to the authority, I think anything beyond the hookup, the curb, is the customers, right? I mean, they wouldn't have typically maintained those lines on the grounds of the CTC school.
I guess that's considered a private
I think so.
loop in there.
Yeah, I mean, courthouse, anything from the curb hookup to the building would be us too, so I just don't want to I'm not trying to.
I mean, they have a separate line down there. They have a 2-inch line that goes into the school, and then have an 8-inch line that serves the hydrants at the school, which they need. And then it loops around and comes back down to the fire school grounds.
And I wasn't trying to make this all about the water, I was just, that
No, but
is
that
kind of
of
brought this to the
hit us in the
surface.
face.
Yeah, that's, like you said, it's definitely was something hard to swallow because of working with the budget, but like I said, it's one of those things where, we're gonna try hard, and hopefully that, somebody could, if they lifted the maintenance fee, that would be, or the charge of the fire stem, lifted that, the water wouldn't be an issue. The water's the cheap part.
I think the water came to like $6,000 for the year, and the maintenance on it was close to $18,000 to $20,000. Our share of the cost for that. Now, the fire school does flush their hydrants twice a year. No, I mean the CTC. And they go out and check the meter before they flush it, and then check it afterwards to see how much they're using. The rest of it goes into the fire school, because there's only one meter on it.
This is tough. I mean, because of
Yeah.
the global coverage that you give for the whole county. This is training throughout the county, and it's tough for you guys to also have budget issues. That's the road for me as a commissioner, and you guys are doing your volunteerism and recruiting people and then getting them trained, and so that they can protect our homes and businesses, and then you got to deal with budget challenges. That's tough.
I know that you have been doing a little bit of homework on usage, especially now that you can monitor it pretty closely. Have you talked with the departments using it for training or their host municipalities? That's always an avenue, I
We
guess.
send out a line of communications to all the fire companies involved.
Anybody that's down there utilizing water for training, for large amounts, it doesn't matter if they'll call me and say, we use 200 gallons of water, or we use 5,500 gallons of water one night training. So, like I said, I've been keeping track of that here since this all started, so I don't have my book with, but I could probably tell you with all the training and everybody that's been down there using the water since this, I would say August, when we got hit with it, we probably used definitely 1 million gallons of water so far, because with the classes that we hold, it takes water. So it's one of those things where it's, you can't fight fire without water. You can't train firefighters without water. So, and we just gotta keep upgrading this training center. We're falling behind majorly, at a training site. We used to be one of the premier training sites in the state, but now we're falling behind because of, with everything that's going on. So, we gotta push forward and stay on top. So there's so many things that we should be far ahead of things on, but we just can't, with a budget like this, we cannot afford it. So this is why we're just letting you know that, we're trying our hardest to go far forward as a training site to keep everybody in the county trained 100%. But in the next aspect of it is, it's like when they want specialized training, they'll call me and say, well, go here or here. So we lose out on a lot of this stuff. We're sending our people and a lot of departments in the county either to Lancaster, Hack, York, Westchester for, especially for large area structures. And that's high-rise building. We do not have a high-rise building, which is one of the things that I would love to push forward in the near future would be a 4-story burn building. So that's my major goal is to put another building down there, 4 stories.
To burn it.
Yeah.
So we have a tower down there, but it's just for propelling and stuff.
Yeah, that's just a training drill tower. So you do get a lot of departments on the outside of the county that come in and do that. PSP comes in there. They do a lot of, I think twice a year, they do their repelling off the drill tower. So.
Commissioner Woods.
Yeah, I certainly appreciate the difficult situation all volunteer fire companies are in, and appreciate everything you do for us. I mean, I've experienced 2 fires in my life, so I know how invaluable your service is. And as commissioners, we certainly, even though it's not our charge, each municipality is in charge of fire, not the county, we try and step up. And in addition to the burn building, this year, coming up, we will be allocating hundreds, if not millions of dollars, $1 million, for the radio system and giving all the fire companies new radios, so you guys don't have to raise the money to purchase those. And also, when the 911 center is completed, you will have access to that for indoor training, like in the winter. That can cut down on some of your heat bills, perhaps, that you could utilize that for some training where it's not involving the water, if that makes any sense. But I just hope that our efforts are not unnoticed, because we have really tried to support fire companies in this community and continue to do so, and with an open heart. So I just wanted to share that to make sure we had all the cards on the table, if that makes any sense. Thank you.
Commissioner Ames?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
I just want to say that I definitely appreciate the efforts that these guys put into this, and just like at every turn. I mean, we heard about it this morning. These things cost too much, and where do we draw the line? We tried to expand how we're helping the fire school with the additional water charges and so on, and those things all add up and go into the total bill, which is our responsibility to cover. So we do the very best we can, and Lee, you're a good man. Appreciate everything you do.
I'm praying for you, Bill. Get over that COVID.
Thank you.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you. Anything else? Thank you for the update.
I think all 3 commissioners are doing a fabulous job.
We're trying to figure out how to balance it all out, but
We realize it's very, very tough. We do. And he does a pretty good job, too.
thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry. Okay, thank you.
That's all right.
Okay. Dave, and Jim.
Yep.
There he is.
Sorry, I gotta get the wheels turning.
You got it.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, good morning. This is the opioid, right?
Additional information that was not available to me when I provided each commissioner packet.
All right. Hopefully this will be a no-brainer, so to speak, in terms of what the county ought to be doing.
That's why I'm presenting.
Perfect presenter. Not to even speak of your mouthpiece there. Okay.
Okay, you get started?
Yep. Like to introduce yourself and
My name is Jim Don Moyer. I'm the Executive Director of Lebanon County Commission on Drug and Alcohol Abuse.
David Warner, County Solicitor.
Okay, today I'm here. We are all aware of the opiate epidemic, past as well as present. It continues into the future. I am here today to present to the commissioners and talk about an opiate settlement. First of all, I want to give you some background on it so you're well aware of what I'm talking about. Attorney General Josh Shapiro wants Pennsylvania to enter into this opiate settlement. The settlement is with Johnson & Johnson as the producer of these drugs and 3 pharmaceutical distributors. The total across the country with all states involved, they anticipate over 40 states will be involved in this opiate settlement suit for a total of $26 billion. Pennsylvania, if Pennsylvania participates in this suit, as Josh Shapiro would like us to, Pennsylvania stands to have a $1 billion settlement portion of that $26 billion. Just to break that down a little further, out of the $1 billion, $700 million is going to be distributed across the state to counties and municipalities. $700 million is a lot of money. In order for counties to participate in this, however, and I provide you a packet, and each part of the packet is the steps that I'm going to go over here right now. The first thing we had to do, or the first thing we have to agree to is, as a county, that we won't entertain future lawsuits against these pharmaceutical people, or we cannot have a current lawsuit against them present. And so I believe we do not have a current lawsuit against these individuals. I think you can attest to that. And I don't anticipate future lawsuits against these folks. So we give up our rights to sue these folks in the future. The county must register as a political subdivision, which in your packet you'll see that I already did that. We also must complete a participation instruction form to Janssen, who is the producer of the medications. We also must complete a participation instruction packet for the distributors. And finally, the last piece I gave you today is we had to complete a participation form for states, since it's a state, a lot of states are involved, so the communication and cooperation between the states is going to be vital. So we had to sign those documents to be considered to be part of this suit. Basically, the more people that join, the better chance of maximizing the $1 billion for Pennsylvania. So the state Attorney General Shapiro is encouraging counties and municipalities to join this suit. I was, to be honest with you, skeptical in what this would mean for Lebanon County until I received the allocation. You'll see in your packet there's an allocation form that breaks down the $700 million across the state of Pennsylvania to counties and municipalities. Lebanon County stands to receive $4,194,677. Now note, this is over an 18-year period of time, but that roughly comes out to $233,000 a year that will come to the county of Lebanon. I'm not sure of how that will flow to us.
I heard it was in the first 2 years it was front-loaded, that we would get the vast majority.
I don't know the details as far as,
I heard that on a CCAP call.
okay.
Yeah, I don't think we've got a breakdown by year yet.
Okay.
Just,
Well, I'm
just a total
saying,
breakdown.
a total breakdown
Yeah.
at some point over 18 years, how they front-load it, back-load it, or give it to us. I was hoping to give it to us evenly every year, but if they front-load it, they front-load it. I guess it doesn't matter to me how it comes, as long as it comes. But that's good to know. And the thing is with this money is it is designed to fight the epidemic that we're currently in and will be in for quite some time. They provided a list, which is Exhibit E in your packet of information, on areas where this money can be spent. It's solely to be spent on drug and alcohol treatment and prevention services.
Is it fair to say that the list of uses, for the most part, if not entirely, mirrors the types of services you already provide? It just gives the ability to expand them.
That's correct. It gives us the ability to expand the services that we already have in place. And also, we're going to look at the services that we don't have in place that we should, and we're going to try to fill those gaps.
Can you give an example? Is that like childcare or something? I noticed that was in there.
There's a whole bunch of services, childcare, transportation, housing. Commissioner, there's a push in the state for social determinants, for us not to only help with the treatment and prevention of the person, but to provide services for the whole person. So they need transportation, they need education, they need, like you said, childcare, those types of things. So there's a wide variety. I believe the handout exhibit E is like 16, 17 pages. I didn't go over each and every one of them in detail yet, but it's 19 pages of things that we can do with this money.
Yeah, there's a lot of choices.
So, and the other part of this, commissioners, is that I will not be the person to say this is what we're going to do with the money because it's delegated to my office. It would be a collaboration between myself, our local providers, as well as agencies. Some of this stuff crosses over to, for example, throughout that information where it can be used, it says about SUD, which is substance use disorder, opiate use disorder people, as well as co-occurring. So that tells me it could also be used for folks that have not only drug and alcohol, but they have mental health as well. So I'm going to collaborate with Holly Adams in her office. I'm going to collaborate with all our local providers, and we're going to figure out what we need to use this money on.
Sounds
that
like
would
a
be
good
most
plan.
effective.
Oh,
I'm sorry, there's a Holly lady. You didn't know you had a new director.
And I believe along with those collaborations, this will come as an annual allocation. You will likely have to demonstrate how that's going to be used, so you'll be in here to get approval on the distribution of each year's, and you'll be here for the next 18 years doing that, right?
We'll start the programs and see if we can finish them.
Before questions, is there anything, Dave, you want to add? I mean, I assume this comes as a recommendation on your part to participate.
Yeah, I mean, this is effectively the equivalent of a class action lawsuit where if we do not enter into an agreement like this, we are potentially at least on an island to do this and litigate this on our own, which I'm sure you're going to hear about some cities or states across the country who pursue that. But from a practical perspective here, it's being recommended by the Attorney General's office, it's being recommended by CCAP, and collectively I would expect probably almost every or potentially every county in Pennsylvania to participate in this. So yes, it would be my recommendation.
Yes.
I do have one question. When I first heard that municipalities had to also approve, I understand this is for 40 states and Pennsylvania is different than other states. So, county can't tell the municipalities what to do. And so my question is, what happens if, say, 3 of the municipalities don't sign on? What happens to that money? Does it go back to the state? Does it get reallocated to the counties that have all come on board with their municipalities? Does it go back to a federal? I mean, what happens to that money?
I mean, I can speak, hopefully this is what you're asking. As the political subdivision, we only applied as a county. So for us, the county would be the only one receiving funds.
But we'll only get 70% for us, and 15, I think, goes to the state, and the other 15 we get if the municipalities all sign on. So we're gonna come up short 15% of that $4 million if they don't all sign on. So what happens to the money if it doesn't happen?
Yeah, it was my understanding we're signing on behalf of the county as the state designated entity who administers drug and alcohol programs, and that there was not going to be a requirement for like a township by township or borough by borough approval process here. I've not seen or heard anything that we're gonna have to go through a process to have every municipality within the county.
Did they change that then? Because on the last CPAC call, I heard that each municipality would have to sign off.
I have not heard or been given that instruction that that's something we'll have to accomplish.
It's a 15% question, 15% of money we never had, so I'm thinking we're still way ahead, even if there is a downside that they wouldn't all sign on. You know, those are all things that you can't answer today, but
Right. I might just point out the 70% you may be referring to or hearing in discussions. I think the 70% is counties, because as you see
Right.
on this distribution,
Yes.
700 million of the 1 billion is county share.
Yes.
So I don't think our 4.1 million is in jeopardy by anyone's doing or
Okay, so
undoing.
it's 15% on top of that,
To whom?
that we would be at risk if all the municipalities did not
I
sign on.
think they'd be at risk, or the state might be at risk, but I don't understand that that if we participate, sign on, do this, we're
You wanna
in,
go around
we're
again,
in
or-
for 4.1, I think.
Yeah. And I would say, if enough counties do not participate, or if enough states do not participate in the overall collective agreement, then we would be removed from this as well. So it does take a cumulative amount to put us kind of over that number. So in the event we enter into this release, but cumulatively there's not enough entities, again, counties and states across the country that enter into it, that the agreement will be void and the litigation will proceed. And the expectation, what we're being told by the Attorney General's office, is that's not going to be the case. They're expecting it to be approved, so.
we're gonna do our part right now.
Exactly.
Okay, motion?
I would add, if I may, I'm sorry, when you do your motion to participate, as Jim described, he's got a handle on this. There's some pretty tight deadlines. I think everybody has to be in this by the beginning of the year, the first couple days of the year, or not. And so when you do your motion, I would ask that you include the provision that Jim Dunmoyer would be able to execute all the participation agreements on behalf of the county.
And currently,
We're registered.
complete.
Yeah.
All the participation forms are completed in
Okay.
registration.
There may be others to draw it down
As
and
it
so
goes
on.
on.
I will make a motion to approve Jim Dunmoyer to execute agreements on the county's behalf for the opioid settlement with, I call it Johnson & Johnson, you called it something else, but so that we can proceed and be part of the process, and you can just keep us informed as we go.
And Commissioner, could I just ask that you add, and for our participation in the Pennsylvania Opioid Misuse and Addiction Abatement Trust, that's the trust entity they've created.
Duly noted, that's part of the,
Bill, would you second that motion?
Yes, I will. I will second the motion. Yep.
Dawn has it, she's still writing, but she's catching up. Any questions regarding the motion, or did you have a question? for
I just, the allocation distributions, is that based on population of county or population of people that have opioid
I think it's
addictions?
a combination. One of the I think it's population is one factor, but I also think it's the overdose rate in counties. That has a factor. There's a lot of factors, but since it is the opiate epidemic and they're trying to address overdose deaths, we've, over the last couple of years, have had odd years for overdose deaths.
Not all in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign, so ordered. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
That's another example of our deep. Thanks. Yes.
Can do it from
That's the
here.
chairman's call.
Go ahead.
I can do it
Yeah,
from here.
sure.
As I had sent around, I sent around a proposal from Boyer Ritter, our current auditors, to continue their service for the next 3 years, which would be the 2021, 2022, 2023 year. A slight increase over what we're paying now. Basically, the increase will not affect the general fund because it's 3 new GASBs coming on board. One that involves the pension fund, and the other ones will involve basically reporting of agencies and stuff. Boyer Ritter, Jamie knows some of the history. Boyer Ritter has been very good to us the past 3 years, in particular since we've had the change in agents and fiscal people. In particular, last year, Boyer Ritter had the complete audit done, ready to present, and one of our agencies came and said, oh, we had to change our numbers. They had to go back and rewrite the whole audit, did not charge us. This year, they've been working with an agency for, what is it, 6 months? At this point, trying to get this year's audit done. They've come in, they've met with the agency, trying to do everything, and they're not charging us anything for that, which they could have. They've been good stewards. They've answered all our questions, and they've done a good job for us. And
you might recall that the last time when Boyer Ritter came on board 3 years ago, it was through a competitive RFP process.
Correct.
So it was put out there competitively. They came in as the lowest and best offer.
And
you could do that each time, but the amount of increase they're asking for here is
very minimal. I mean, we're only talking $3,000. So they're not, and even at that rate, based on the competitive from 3 years ago, they're still almost 18,000 lower than the next lowest offer. So I just recommend that
Seek a motion to approve the contract renewal.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that we approve Boyer and Ritter for another 3-year contract. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign, so ordered. Anything else, Robert?
other than hopefully sometime in the near future, we'll have the 2020 done. We're still waiting for that one agency to get their numbers together.
And I want to thank you and your department, Angel, specifically for all the work that you did on the budget to get us through this long. Anything else from the floor, except I do want to, this is either the last or one of the last meetings that we will have Sheriff Klingler with us. And he's been a great partner in, as a department head, as an elected official, and it's been a pleasure working with you, and we want to thank you for all the improvements and upgrading that you've done in your department over the years. But it's just been a very good exchange. You didn't always get everything you wanted, but you got most of it, I think. So we appreciate your good spirit of cooperation between us and your department.
Thank you.
And I appreciate your open door. You always are very kind when I come down and allow me to walk right in, and we have a nice discussion. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I would just like to add that it's been wonderful to have a true professional in that position and operating a truly professional department. So just as the others have said, I certainly appreciate your efforts, Bruce. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
And I think he may be one of the few, if long-serving sheriffs that has never missed the prison board meeting. So we appreciate that as well. Perfect attendance certificate he gets. Yes, so thank you, Sheriff. All right, Jamie, you have a few things.
I have just one quick item, and also I forgot at the beginning to announce that there is need for an executive session for personnel immediately following, and then you've got, that shouldn't take too long, I know you've got MPO by Zoom following, so we'll try to be quick. I didn't expect us to go this long, sorry. I only have one item. This is an agreement for medical assistance transportation program for a driver through the Community Action Partnership. Being a stickler for name pronunciation, even this one's tough for me. It's Botasesi, Bot Pete is the name of the individual, and would be paid according to the same schedule as other drivers.
Motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the MATP contract.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve that the driver for the Community Action Partnership Program. Any question or comment? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign, so ordered. Get well, Bill, thank you. If there's nothing from the floor.
Thank you. I think I may printed out the MPO.
All right, very good.
And again, a brief meeting, fairly brief meeting next week for final consideration of the budget, the 23rd at 9:30. We may have a couple of small add-ons just to clean up in the end of the year. Like for example, the GAP came up and asked if we could come in. So, but otherwise, the main point for the meeting is final consideration of the budget.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, we stand adjourned.